You are not what happened to you. And your life doesn't have to be defined by the experiences that you have had throughout your life. When you experience a traumatic event, maybe running away from the situation was the only solution for you to be safe. And running away could be physical, but it can also be mental. When you find your body shutting down in whatever situation it may be in, some of the things you can do is now actively engage your 5 senses. In this particular moment is now when you need to sit and say, am I actually saying yes because I want to, or because this person saying this reminds me of a certain situation in my childhood or maybe earlier on that I felt compelled to say yes to, maybe because it was your parents or older siblings. Welcome back. Welcome to Rhoda Speaks Hope podcast, episode 2. And last episode, we talked about how childhood trauma affects us in adulthood. Can you imagine things that we experienced in our childhood are now showing up in our adulthood? But at least we're able to unpack a few of those things. And today, I want us to talk about now the survival responses that our body developed in order to survive some of the traumatic experiences that we have been through. And by this, our body, or rather our nervous system, developed them to survive the moment. But then, continuously, we have carried it over to our life. And right now, you are reacting the way you used to react when there was a traumatic event. And really, right now, there is no traumatic event around, So, welcome as we unpack this. And I'm going to be focusing on 4 of them. And the very first one that is very common is the fight response, where your body goes into fight mode, and it could be from just because even very subtly, like maybe from home, your siblings, or rather your sisters and brothers or cousins or even parents used to blame you for so many things that hata sio wewe ulikuwa umefanya. And so you found yourself moving on with life in a way that you have to fight for yourself, and you believe that I must fight. Maybe you're given feedback at work, and then your mind goes to defend yourself, over-explain yourself. In a relationship, someone is just pointing out something, and then there you go, boom, defending yourself. Or you have this anger that comes up, and it's, or you have this controlling thing that comes up, and you believe that only you know best. But really, it's not like you know best. It's just that you feel, I have to defend myself in this, or rather I have to show people that I got it, even when you don't get it. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And in the sense where you find, in the place where you find yourself in this, you overlook, you analyze, you're noticing that this is your default response. It's okay to remind yourself that this moment doesn't need me to fight. There are even some moments someone has even said something and you just walk away, And this is something you can do by even before you respond. Because now when you have this response, you find yourself maybe even saying things that before you had not even logically thought about it, And so this is where I would urge you that before you respond or before you defend yourself, sit back and just think about what point do you want to pass across, and ask yourself, am I actually in danger that I have to fight? If they're not in danger, tell yourself it's even okay to say thank you for that feedback, or thank you for that positive criticism, or rather I hear you and I'm going to do better, or thank you for what you have said. I'll take some time to think about it and then I'll get back to you. Okay? You don't have to answer on the moment. And practice calming down. Even if maybe it's a place where really the person is looking to you to give feedback, you can just sit back and do what we say, counting back from 100 back to 1. Where you're just there like 100, 99, 98, 97, 96, 95, all the way back to 1. Once you are done, you're like, okay, now, here's my feedback. Because that way you allow your body to first calm down and first focus on just something else for maybe a minute. And then now, you give feedback that is very, very constructive. And then in our second, response is what we call the flight response. This is where you just run away from situations, and it's a way in which, because when you experience a traumatic event, maybe running away from the situation was the only solution for you to be safe. And running away could be physical, but it can also be mental. You're just even in a meeting, but your mind zoned out. You ran away from that situation, from whatever reason that it may have caused that particular response. And now when you find yourself in this response of every time something happens and you just feel this thing like, I want to run. And this comes in ways like avoidance. It could be in a relationship and you're there like you just want to avoid that person because somebody told you the famous thing about ladies love to do, that I want us to talk. We need to talk. And for you go in the mood of, where? We need to run. Yeah, nyumba, singi. And so you run and avoid even getting home. And it can even come in the sense of even overworking, just to avoid to get home and discuss it. And at times you even feel like you're even feeling from your own body. You don't want to face emotionally what you're experiencing. And some of the things you can do here is practicing mindfulness. Where you are present in the moment, before you run away, take a moment to calm down. Even if it's just where you say, what can I say? What can I hear? And all of that. It's going to help you just using your own 5 senses. Or you can even say the 100 to 1. Or you can just decide, what? I'll take a walk and then I'll come back to handle this particular issue. Or you say, I'm going to commit to it. So last time we talked about journaling. This is now where you start to be accountable for what you've been journaling, or for what you're calling yourself out to do. And you say, I'm going to show up and I'm going to talk about what I said we are going to talk about. Or this particular role that I've been given, I'm not going to procrastinate it. I'm not going to run away from this opportunity. I'm actually going to show up, explain myself, not over-explaining, but just explaining yourself, and then you go ahead and do what you need to do. Because now each and every time your mind tells you, hey, apana, we cannot do that. We need to run away. We need to run away, because of some examples that, may be coming from our childhood experiences. And then now we have the freeze response. And in the freeze response is where your body shuts down. Completely it shuts down. And it stems from where now in our childhood, throughout life, you have experienced some things that just caused your body to shut down. At times it shut down, like you could maybe hear the voices, you can see the people, you can do all of that, but you're not able to do anything. Nikama, you are stuck. Let's say, for example, you went to a park, and an animal came up to you. Let's say a lion came up to you, and your body tells you run. Rather, your mind tells you run, and then your body is just still. It's like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? It's just not able to move. And in this particular moment, it may show up even at work, and you are being told do something. We have this challenge at work, and we need a solution. And your mind goes blank. You completely shut down. And you don't even know what to do. And it can manifest in things like, having difficulty in making decisions. Or even maybe at home. It could be a challenge of maybe finances. And maybe your spouse tells you, oh, this and this is going to itakuwa ngumu, we need solutions here and there. And then you're asked, what do you think we can do? And you're like, And you may hide behind, wacha nifikiria hiyo maneno. But it's not like umeenda kufikiria hiyo maneno. You have run away from it, or rather, you are not able to, to process it at that particular moment. So when you find your body shutting down in whatever situation it may be in, some of the things you can do is now actively engage your 5 senses, so that to allow your body to now start moving, or rather to do something, where you can see, it's okay, what can I see? What can I hear? And you can just do the five things that you can see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things that you can smell, 2 things you can taste, and 1 thing that you can touch. And you can place it in whichever order that you want to place it in. That helps your body to come back to the present moment. Okay, and then finally we have the fawn response. This is where you find your body, you just find yourself people pleasing. and you do anything to accommodate people at your own expense most of the time, and people are stepping, they are crossing over your boundaries and everything, but there you are just telling people it's okay, you can walk all over me, it's okay, I can do this in relationships, oh, I can do this, you can let go of your values and all of that, just because you learned in your childhood that when I please people, I am accepted. When I do things for people, that's when I'm accepted. And so you have found yourself in that, even in relationships. You're in some relationships and you're just asking yourself, how did I get here? But it's because you learned. Anybody who comes to you, you have to say yes. And in this particular moment is now when you need to sit and say, am I actually saying yes because I want to? Or because this person saying this reminds me of a certain situation in my childhood, or maybe earlier on, that I felt compelled to say yes to. Maybe because it was your parents or older siblings. So pause and ask yourself, why am I doing this? And then at times you can even have a list. You just write of your boundaries and what you need, that even when you meet a person, you just ask, when they say something, you go back to your list. Is it fitting in your list? No. If it's no, you say no. Even if you go to nurse your heart, uko kando. Okay, so I hope that this has shed some light on how our body maintains, or rather keeps, the trauma. But the most important thing to remind yourself is that you are not what happened to you. And your life doesn't have to be defined by the experiences that you have had throughout your life. And you can show up in a better way. And at times, maybe you've even seen yourself, you're like, oh my God, I have all the survival responses in me. It is still okay. And as I said last time, that awareness is a starting of healing. Okay? So now that you even know now even better, now that this is my default response mechanism, my default response, what do I do in the moment? And mostly remind yourself, I am safe now. I may not have been safe before. Maybe the environment wasn't safe. You really just had to people please for you to survive, and it's okay. But remind yourself that now things are different. Now I know better. Now I have support. Now I have knowledge. Now I have people around me, and that matters. So surround yourself with people who love you. Have a place that you can fall back. People who can hold you accountable. They'll be like, you said you don't do this. Why are you doing this? And allow the people around you to have that space. If it's a spouse or a best friend, allow them to have that space to tell you that, what you did was wrong. And what you did, just allow them to correct you. And now take the correction positively. And know that these are my accountability partners in my healing journey. Again, if you find that it's a bit hard for you to cope on your own time, you can go to therapy. Therapy will help you. And remember, therapy will not turn you into a new person. Therapy just helps you to be who you are meant to be. When God created you, who did He create? So therapy just helps you to heal from all these experiences that have defined you, that have informed how you show up in your life, but doesn't to make you a new person, just makes you to be the real you. Okay, so normalize seeking for help, and after all things will work out for you. So thank you so much. And of course, we've been hosted again by the amazing Havon Suites in Westlands. If you need a stay, please come on. Their contacts are on the screen. Yes, thank you so much. Have a beautiful time.